I'm Keen947, aka Wolfkeen, and welcome to another edition of Wolfkeen's Thoughts. Now today on Wolfkeen's Thoughts, this is going to be from a patron request. Now, my patron wanted me to do a game review, basically giving my thoughts on one of the games that, I've been playing as of late. And I have, he gave me the game, I finally fully played it, and I finally decided I'm going to do the review like this. I was originally going to do a scripted video, but it was taking too long, and I really couldn't get the footage to work properly. So now I decided to do it in this style, and pretty sure none of you even care at this point. So anyways, to begin with, the game that I'm going to be talking about is Batman Arkham Asylum. Now, I'm going to give you a bit of backstory with my history with the Arkham games. I knew about Arkham Asylum back in 2009 when a demo was available at a GameStop. However, unfortunately, I did not get to play the game until just recently, 2015, when Arkham Knight was announced, and my friend sent me all 3 copies of the Arkham games. So after he sent me all 3 copies of the Arkham games, I finished playing this game with him watching, and he asked me to do a review for it as a patron request. So that's what I'm going to be doing today, and that's what I'm going to be talking about in this edition of Wolfkeen's Thoughts. So what's the story of Arkham Asylum? Well, the idea of Arkham Asylum is that basically Batman is taking the Joker back to Arkham Asylum after capturing him from doing one of his various crimes. However, for some reason, Joker seems to be almost ecstatic to be back in Arkham, only to find out that he basically set up a coup to take over the entirety of Arkham Island thanks to an officer within the island, Frank Bowles, if I'm saying his name right, and of course his lovely assistant, Harley Quinn. What happens is that Batman has to basically try to stop the Joker's plan, which is basically taking over all of Arkham Island, and basically his other plan, which is he's looking for this formula known as Titan, which was being experimented on the inmates here on Arkham Island by Dr. Young. So basically what Joker wants to do, he wants to get the formula, create an army of monsters so he can take the entirety of Gotham City. So basically the story isn't anything like, original or anything like that. It's basically just Joker finding out about something, trying to get his hands on it, and then in turn taking over all of Gotham. But I don't mind that too much because the way that the story is presented and the way that the story is structured, it reminds me of the Batman animated series in many situations. What I mean by this is that not only does it feel that way because Mark Hamill and, dang, I forgot Batman's voice, Kevin Conroy, there we go. I knew he was going to kill me if I didn't get that right, but Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill basically reprised their roles as Batman and Joker. Well, Harley Quinn, I think, is a new voice actor, unlike the animated series, but you know what? I think the voice actor for Harley Quinn does a really good job at portraying her unique style and, of course, her devotion to, Joker. Now, the one thing I do like I said, it reminds me of the Batman animated series because Batman animated series not only had, interesting moments and it had funny moments, but it also had action moments and serious moments. With Batman Arkham Asylum, we got these moments. We got the cool action scenes from the animated series. We got the cool dark themes from the animated series. I mean, come on. First time we all saw Killer Croc. And we even got some of the cooler moments from, the funnier moments from, again, reminding me of the animated series. Honestly, the Arkham Asylum game reminds me of the animated series. It's almost like the animated series game we never got. And yes, I know there was an animated series game, I think on the Genesis or something like that, but I don't know much about it, so there's not much I could talk about on that front. But in my mind, this game is basically the Batman animated series game that we never got. And the story pretty much goes through that very, very easily. Like, play Arkham Asylum, then go watch the Batman animated series, and you'll immediately see why I said what I said about the story. Like I said, nothing too special, but it does it in a way that keeps me invested, especially with the different villains and otherwise that we run into all over Arkham Island, which is the coolest part of the game. So what about gameplay? Well, with gameplay we have 2 different elements, well actually 3, but the third one isn't really as big as the other 2. The first one, of course, is the overworld combat. Basically, in Batman Arkham Asylum, you can explore the entirety of Arkham Island. Granted, there are some areas you can't go to because you're not supposed to go to that direction yet, or you don't have the specific gadget to go to that location, but for the most part, all of Arkham Island is yours to explore, and you can pretty much find whatever you want. Maybe the Riddler trophies or challenges that the Riddler set up all over the place. Maybe you just want to beat up a couple of random thugs to get some experience points so you can level up Batman and get new abilities and stuff like that. Or maybe you just want to explore for the sake of exploring and getting used to Batman's controls, being able to glide, use the back claw, back grapple to basically climb up buildings and stuff like that. It is an interesting overworld, the Arkham Island area, and there's plenty of places to explore, from intensive care, the medical center, the freaking mansion itself. There's a lot of places to go to all over Arkham Island. And like I said, there's also a combat system in this game where basically it is a one-button combat where one button's for attacking when one button is for reversing. And I believe the other one is for stun, circle, I believe, because I played on the PS3. If you played on 360, you know the subsequent controls. But basically what you're supposed to do is you have to do as much as you can without getting hit. The higher your combo goes, the more damage you eventually do in those combo hits, and the faster you move in the combat. Which, when you have your combo really high in Arkham Asylum, Batman is like zipping all over the place like a flea on like tequila or something like that. I know, weird analogy. And that's what's fun about this game. It's like, it makes you feel like the Batman. It makes you feel like Batman himself, beating up all these thugs without a problem, taking them down with the various amounts of gadgets that you have, like the Batclaw, the Batarangs, or anything like that. And there's another element to the game that is stealth. You can actually go through the game stealthily. And there are certain segments where it makes it easier because there will be thugs with guns. In this game, thugs will use different weapons like baseball bats, lead pipes, or anything else they can get their hands on. Hell, they'll even throw debris and trash cans at you. And plus, like I said, you'll run into thugs with guns. With these guys, you do not want to fight them up close. So the best thing to do with thugs with guns is stealth it. Sneak up behind them and knock them out. Get them from the top of gargoyles or something like that. Whatever it takes to stay alive, do it. Because you don't want to fight these thugs with guns right up front, because they will kill you. Especially since some of them have assault rifles and shotguns. And there's one other element in the game, the detective mode. Basically, the detective mode allows you to see like clues all around Arkham Island, which can help you get closer to your goal. Maybe find footsteps and you have to follow the footsteps. Maybe find a tobacco trail and you have to follow the trail of tobacco. Or maybe just use the detective mode to see enemies through walls. See if they're armed, see how many there are, if they're alerted, if they're cautious, if they're scared. The detective mode is an interesting aspect because it basically allows you to survey the scene around you, even in a combat situation, and figure out who should you take out first and who should be, like, you know, your HVT, high value target. However, there is one problem I have with the detective mode. You use it way too much. My problem with detective mode is that throughout the entire game, I was using it way too much to the point that, just like Yahtzee, the entire game looked like blue vision. And unfortunately, that did kind of take me out of the experience, because half the time I was just playing with the blue vision on, and I was always turning it on every few steps. And not to mention, it's like, the detective mode isn't really as used in this game as it is in later Arkham games, like Arkham City, which I played. The detective mode is like, it almost feels like this is the first try with it, and it shows, but it's still incorporated really well. The only complaint I have is that you use it way too much to the point that you're going to be seeing the game in blue for the most part, and that can get annoying or even tiresome after a while, if you ask my honest opinion. But all in all, gameplay is really freaking good. I think this is a great gameplay aspect for Batman, combining stealth, combat, and detectiveness to some degree into one single game. It's amazing, if you ask my honest opinion. Now, there's one more thing I want to talk about before I go into the bads, the extra stuff. Like I said, you could find Riddler trophies and Riddler challenges all around Arkham Island. Basically, the Riddler's trying to say that he's smarter than you by saying you can't find one of these trophies. When you find these trophies, you end up getting challenge maps for the challenge mode, which basically is either last as long as you can in combat, defeat all these enemies with a certain score limit, or take down these thugs in specific means to get, you know, like Batarang ranks. And these are a lot of fun because you start off with the easy ones, but then once you start finding more trophies, they give you the extreme ones, which are really freaking tough. I'll say that right now. Like, there's some challenges where you have to knock someone out with the, like, you know, some of the gadgets, or blow 2 walls up at the same time and subsequently knock out 2 thugs with the 2 walls you blew up. It gets insane, some of the stuff that the game asks you to do in the challenge modes. And not to mention, while you're looking for the Riddler trophies, you're also going to find plenty of references to previous Batman villains, like Deadshot, Clayface, Mr. Freeze, and various others. I mean, I wish I could name them all, but it would take me forever to name all of the references and otherwise from this game in this video. So I'm just going to say, if you're like me, look for everything, because there's recordings that have backgrounds into like some of the villains. You can find references to different villains throughout the entirety of the game, even some of the lesser known villains that nobody really knows about. I'm not even kidding on that front. So yeah, there's a lot of extra stuff to find in this game, and hell, there's even a free DLC for the PS3 version where you can play as Joker, where you can play the challenge maps as Joker. I'm not kidding. So yeah, I like the extras in this game. Oh, and that DLC is free, by the way, so don't worry about paying. Now, do I have any complaints about Batman Arkham Asylum? A few. The first one is the game felt too claustrophobic. It's because Arkham Island is an expansive place. I loved being outdoors and stuff like that, but when you're cramped inside of buildings, I never really had that full Batman experience. Not like in City, Origins, or Night. I haven't played Origins or Night yet, but you get what I'm trying to say. In City, you have like this open world to explore with thugs causing crimes all over the place and beating up political people and otherwise. But in Asylum, yeah, you have the thugs outside, but you also have a bunch of thugs indoors in enclosed spaces. And it's like, I don't like the claustrophobic locations in Arkham Asylum for the most part. It did not feel the perfect kind of setting for Batman in many situations. Second problem I have is some of the gadgets are absolutely worthless. I mean, seriously, almost 70% of the gadgets in Arkham Asylum are worthless. Like the Sonic Batarang. Who uses that? Yes, it has a good distraction idea, but it's not really used for much. And don't even get me started on the remote Batarang. I want you to tell me when you used the remote Batarang in the game. Tell me you used it religiously, or even used it commonly. Unlike the other gadgets like the Batclaw or even the triple Batarang. Tell me when you used it besides to get that freaking trophy. I don't think anybody has used it that much, and that's being honest. Finally, the boss fights were lacking in this game, like badly lacking. For the most part, you would be fighting Titan-infused thugs, and they were, like, first fight, it was interesting because you didn't know what you were doing. Second time, it was a little more interesting because it was against Bane. But then after the third, fourth, or even fifth attempt fighting these Titan-infused thugs, it gets old, fast. And many of the boss fights aren't even that good either. My two favorites are the Scarecrow segments, which I do consider that a boss, and later on, the Poison Ivy fight, which is by far one of the greatest fights in the game. It is amazingly fun, and it is a real boss fight when you really consider it. Unfortunately, the bad boss fights also continue to the final boss. Not to spoil anything, but holy crap is the final boss horrible. It does not fit in the game whatsoever. It's like, here's what it's building up to, and this is what you get. It's like, what the actual hell? So, all those complaints aside, it's like the bad bosses, the useless gadgets, the claustrophobic, and hell, even the detective mode. With these four complaints, what do I think about Arkham Asylum? What do I think about this game in general? I think this is a really freaking good game. I'm sad that I missed out on it back in 2009 or 2010, whenever it came out. I can look at it real quick. It is, yeah, it is. You know what, I don't care, but you can probably look it up yourself, and I'll probably put an annotation. But basically, I missed out. When this game first came out, I had no chance in buying it because I was in high school at the time. And when I was out of high school, I had every opportunity to buy it, but I didn't. I spent my money on other games like Fallout New Vegas, Heavy Rain, and other stuff like that, instead of buying this, and I regret it. I do regret it. I do regret not playing this game when it first came out. So, if you ask me, this is an amazing game, and I think this is one of the best Batman games I've played in a long time. So that leads to my final verdict. And no, I'm not going to give scores this time around. I think I'm done giving scores. I'm going to stick to a 5, rating system. So, what do I think of the game? I think this is a great game in many aspects, but because of the problems I had with this game, especially that ending, I'm only going to give it a rating of good, and it's a very good game. So this is going to be more or less a very good game, or a 4 out of 5 in my honest opinion. So Batman Arkham Asylum, this is definitely a really fun Batman game, and being the first of its kind of the Arkham series, it is a really good start, especially considering what comes out later, like City, Origins, and Night. Considering that this is the first and how well it did, it makes me super pumped to see what the rest of the series has. So, in my opinion, this game is worth buying. If you got a chance, Get the Game of the Year edition. It's cheap right now, and you can get all the DLC, which is the challenge maps, the Joker DLC, and otherwise, as well as a bunch of other extras with the Game of the Year edition for about 20 bucks. And I think that's a steal at any price. So, my opinion, very good game. Get it when you can. It is worth every penny. With all that said, thanks again to my patron for requesting me to review this game, and I hope you enjoyed the video. So until next time, I'm Keen47, aka Wolfkeen. Hope you enjoyed, and until next time, guys, take care.